Yes, Akash Chopra. Charitra. Akash, his voice is audible now.
Yes, sir.
Good. Okay. Yesterday you were absent. Why? What happened?
Sir, I thought you had sent that link, na? So we have to join that class. So I thought that we don't have today's class.
I
Sorry,
did
sir.
send any link I will send. I have not reported in such a way. Yesterday who attended? Aditya Pushpam Azad. He attended. Okay. Anyhow, totally 4 files have you downloaded from the chat pad?
What, sir?
Four lecture notes files I
Yeah.
uploaded yesterday.
Yes, from the
Have you down?
Chalkpad, na? Yeah, I have downloaded, sir.
How many projects you have did in that? Whether you go through that?
Yes, sir, I'm
Have you
going through
got
the notes.
notes? Okay. Whether you downloaded any project folder?
Not yet, sir. Sir, I have to ask one question.
Yes.
Like in sir university, when we come to in offline mode, then
Yes.
uh, what type of papers will be there? Like there will be some questions like to develop an app or like same
Yeah.
like
This
MCQs only.
ST2 is announced
Yes, sir, we have got the date sheet too.
on 21st. I think 21st.
Yes, sir.
This time I'm planning to ask 50 marks in that exam.
How much marks, sir?
50.
50. Okay, sir.
Yeah, each question carries 10 marks, 5 questions of project development.
So, sir, we have to make that project means the apps.
Yes, yes, yes.
So, sir,
There's a small,
it won't take time because there are 5 questions you're saying.
yeah, within the specified time you are supposed to complete because small project just display buttons, yeah, button event, displaying message box. So these are all will be the context, and each 5 applications you are supposed to create. Unless you are not practicing, that's the thing. This time I'm evaluating with the projects.
Okay, sir.
Okay, now have a view on it. I'll show the projects what we discussed yesterday. And all only one project yesterday I missed from that. That will be discussed today, even though all 3 we will see for your case. Have you updated your Android Studio on the day it shows? Checkbox demo we'll see for your case now. What is this checkbox? Based on the web forms, can you define this checkbox widget, which is used in the data filling forms?
Yes, sir.
Once it is selected, and it can be unselected, there is no problem.
Like the tick
Based
mark
on this, yeah, tick mark.
or
Based
like
on
in
this,
bullet form.
not bullet form, it's in square form, square shape. Is
Okay,
it
sir.
visible on the screen?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Similar 3 forms we have given in this sorry, what problem? It's a nothing problem. Just when you are selecting any of the box and expand the terms, if you provide, that will expand the CSE in the sense computer science and engineering, that will be displayed on the toast message. Then ECE, that will expand with electronics and communications engineering. If these two are selected, these two values will be displayed. If third one is left over, third one won't be displayed. So selection, and based on the selection, how we can manipulate, that's a practice on this project, for which we used checkboxes. When you go to this button group, it takes some time. Yeah, there you can find the checkbox. Is it visible now? From
Yes,
there,
sir.
you have to drag and drop. And second, the text I provided as CSE. CS in the, sorry, CSE here, the string value I have mentioned. In the string constant, they are all defined. Checkbox demonstration creator and checkbox demo is the app name. And these are all the string constants, small CSE, EC, and triple E. And the button for which expand the terms. These are all the string values, they are substituted. And the ID I have given for this as CS, and this is for EC, and this is for triple E. And this button we are having CK. There's the XML IDs. Only 4 widget variables are involving in the manipulation. They are provided with ID. Main activity Java, necessary imports, and in this widget, totally 3 checkboxes are involved in this. I have given the widget variable names as it is CSE, ECE, and AAA. This mention, and this says not the text which is provided on it. These are all variables, and buttons here. This is CHA. So totally 4 widgets I declared. On the create, using the create method, only one line I'm using. Add listener on button click. This is used. Under this method is written separately. And inside this, add listener on button click. In that method, I have mentioned the linking of variable to the XML ID, appropriate variable and its corresponding XML ID, all are linked for the 4 widgets. This is a well-known procedure. You are all clear. So now the same CHK button, display the expand the terms, the button set on click listener. This procedure also we know. Under this, a string builder object, that's the result named new string builder, because if 2 checkboxes are checked, we are in need of 2 messages. If only one is present, that has to be collected. So appending the strings, concatenation of strings I made in this using the string builder. So result first itself, I'm adding a first line of statement, selected abbreviations and its expansions as a title. When the result particular new string builder, which consists the first initial value in such a form. Then validation, CSE, ECE, and AAA are the checkboxes, and the is checked property is taken here. And with that, if it's not selected, negation symbol I used with the AND operator. At the initial, these 3 are not selected, and you're pressing this button in the sense what to be done. I'm adding this is already available on the result. Then now the result is appended with no checkbox is checked. Select the checkbox or checkboxes and proceed with expand the terms button. That's a information display using the toast, in which on the current context I'm using the string builder result to display the string. Now this line also be printed, and this line, these 2 lines will be printed with the help of, instead of the text message, I'm using the string builder. Then length along show. This is a validation if any values are not provided. Else, if any one is selected, this AND condition is violated, then it will come to the false part. And if CSE is checked, this will be available default. If this condition satisfies, this line will be appended with it and condition over. Unless this line alone will be available in the result, in the second if condition, CSE in the sense computer science and engineering will be appended. It's available with just with the if blocks, various if blocks, because any one checkbox is not checked, that information has to be displayed. That's why it's provided with if block alone. Accordingly, you can understand 3 if blocks with for the 3 buttons. If all 3 are selected directly, this information will be this first line, this result information will be there, and all these 3 will be appended with that. If any one is present along with this statement, this will be printed, vice versa. And finally, after whatever may be the selection, according to that, the above detail is a checkbox summary that is given appended with the string builder. Again, I'm printing all these information on this. Very simple, using a single button click. If you run this project, you can come across the output. See, Akash Chopra, all the exercises are very simple. Before the examination, at every day, you practice each and every exercises, and during the examination, you're supposed to perform your productivity. Is it clear? Time management also very much needed.
Okay, sir.
Yes. To launch application will also be executed. We wait for that. See, based on the context, it won't enter into the else block. In the else block, we have given this string. If none is selected, it won't print this because this is available in the else part. Okay. If any, all 3, for example, we have selected, expand the terms. And in else part statement also displayed. Is it visible?
Yes, sir.
If any 2 we have selected, only that 2 information will be available. That is, we clearly mentioned with a statement. It doesn't take any value from anywhere else. Using the string builder append method, the text is provided in it. So based on that, at this particular, if it is checked, the further manipulation here, only the text display using the toast and string builder we have completed. We can manipulate any of the logic under this condition. So several if blocks to be used, and if it's not checked what to be provided, that can also be provided using if else. I hope you can understand clearly, and your practice for memorizing purpose, it's needed. Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Then radio buttons. This button, what is this radio button? Now it's a circular shape button. Once it is selected, we cannot deselect on the particular screen, on the form. Are you clear?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. In here for to provide the explanation, two options, sorry, radio buttons are provided. We can say this is option selection, am I right? So here also, if we select one radio button and shows selected in the sense, based on the text what we provided on the widget, the text will be displayed on the message as a toast. Using that toast, we are displaying the message. And here, go to this button, you can see radio button. And along with the radio group is a container in a rectangular shape that can be placed. On this radio group, these buttons are placed. If you come to the design, you can see this rectangular area, which is called a radio group. And this particular widget, that's called radio button. There are two radio buttons placed inside the radio group. So radio group is available here. On the radio group, we have placed radio buttons. Are you clear? And this is a button in which during the on click here itself, we have mentioned on click button method. Instead of taking the ID and synchronizing with the widget variable in the manipulation, we are invoking in the XML design itself the buttons on click method, and under which we are going to write our manipulation steps. Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Good. As for the string variables, the what text we have given, they are defined under this context. Show selected. Activity, we are having the option with radio button and radio group. Why the button is not declared here? The button is declared with this method here itself. Main activity on click button method. This is defined here. Under this method, we can write the manipulation. So we avoided that, declaring the button and using dot set on click listener method, in which view, based on that, we will write the manipulation steps. That is completely avoided. During on create, these two are declared here. During the on create, only for the radio group variable, what we used, that is now linked. The radio group is provided with the ID radio group radio button RGRB in such a way, and that is now linked under the create method. Then we have defined that on click button method under the XML design. Based on that, inside it, we are taking these buttons, radio button here, RB campus, and we have linked with the there. We are not providing any ID. Even this is RB selected ID. This button's ID we are referencing directly, not with the help of their ID value, XML ID value, the selected ID value. That is integer RB. This is a variable, and that is assigned with the RG campus get check the radio button ID. Which ID? 0 and 1 will be the ID of two radio buttons. The first placed radio button will be 0, second placed will be the 1. And accordingly, this ID will be collected. If this particular ID is -1 in the sense we are not having any buttons in it. If none of the value is selected, that will result with ID value as -1. So if it's -1 in the sense, it indicates nothing is selected. So that will give the toast message when this ID is identified. To validation purpose, we have mentioned no campus is selected. Else in the sense that will have 0 or 1 accordingly. If -1 is not present, and it automatically after selection, first HP campus if you select, that will result with 0. Second Punjab campus if you select, that result with 1. In such a condition, if it's not -1, because the logic is limited here, so that's why we are not mentioning any complex activities here. Immediately we are moving with, and we are getting the context of the text according to the ID what is provided. If -1 in the sense, none of the thing will be selected. because we cannot judge which button have been selected and then we have pressed this button. So based on the button, radio button, what value we have selected, that value, based on that, that particular text will be printed on the toast message. This also now I'm showing you to during the explanation. It's very simple and you are supposed to concentrate on the methods, how we have to do, what we have to keep remember. It's not the complex projects what we are having in hand. Is it easy whether you can implement with your system today evening itself?
Yes, sir.
With the help of lecture notes, practice it. These
Okay,
are all the small blocks will support you when you are working with the complex problem, when you are coming across or an option to be provided for the further manipulation. Is it clear? At that places, this logic can be easily applied. For that, we are learning these small blocks of information. Now see, show selected. Now the value will be -1, 0 and 1 won't be present. In such a condition, it will throw no campus is selected. If now the value will be 1, according to that value, the get text through this, that will print the text of the particular radio. But see here, Chitkara Punjab campus, this message is nothing but that is fetched from the text of this particular widget. In text property, we have set this value. If it is selected, Chitkara HP campus accordingly. Now, once it's selected, we cannot deselect. That's a operation of radio button. Are you clear?
yes, sir.
Now we are moving to the next one. During runtime, without placing any widgets on the screen. See, in the activity main, no widgets is selected, only this constraint layout is provided with the ID value. What is provided with the ID value? The constraint, entire constraint layout is provided with the ID value. Are you clear? No widgets are provided. Through the Java code, we are creating the widgets to be displayed. Due to constraint layout, here only one issue based on our left margin and top margin. The widgets cannot be placed. When this project runs, default it moves to 0,0th position of display. Okay. The radio here again, we are considering when we are sitting with the radio button, radio group is necessary. Constraint layout CL we are declaring. Radio buttons 2 we have placed. Not placed, we are supposed to create. If you see the output of this, you can easily understand. Is it clear? So in design, we are not having any radio button, but these two radio buttons, what we declared as a variable here, now it's available. One is for Himachal Pradesh campus, one is for Punjab campus, RB radio button HP and RB PB. These two are declared here. On create inside it, RG in the sense only the constraint layout, what with the XML ID we have provided, that is now linked under this statement. Remaining are not, we are having widgets and its XML ID. So they are created for this particular activity. This in the sense the particular activity with the new radio group. That is the objects are inherited. Okay, new radio group. And RBHP is a radio button variable, new radio button of this, and RBPB, new radio button of this. These are all now initialized. Here it is declared and they are having some new objects in it right now. It doesn't have any properties or characteristics in it. After this initialization, declaration, initialization, then your RB and radio button 1 and radio button 2, you are setting the text using this property. We have to clear the text we already used, clear the text of a widget. Empty double quotes will give. In this place, we have provided the string value and that will be set on it. Still, it is not placed on the layout. We have created and the text property is set on at this point. Then for the radio group, what we created, radio group, we are creating the add view. First HP will be placed, second Punjab. These two radio buttons are created with the view. Then constraint layout params, this particular property, we are declaring an object. We are creating an object CLPRM, and that is provided with wrap content. That in the sense, until this is available, the widget will have the place according to that. For RG, we have not provided anything. For radio button, we are mentioning up to the content what is available on the text available on the particular widget, you wrap and conclude. That's the information available in this. And even we provided for this object with a left margin and right margin, it doesn't functions. We have to see that. Then radio group set layout parameters based on this. Wrap content functions properly, but the margins what we set, it's not functioning good. After that, CL is a constraint layout. And for this constraint layout, we are creating the view, add view of radio group. This radio group in which these two buttons or radio buttons are placed, and now we are creating the view for the constraint layout. And on the constraint layout, they will be placed. Then RG set on checked change listener. That is RG in the sense the radio group. It's having a method called the set on checked change listener in which these two, this is the RG, and we have created the view for button 1 and button 2. When any one of the button checked is changed, it is listening, then it through this particular method on check that changed. You can see radio button as a radio button. Here we are declaring the radio buttons check ID like select ID on the previous. And again, we are toasting the through the toast, the messages displayed what radio button is selected on the particular radio button, what text strings are substituted, that will be displayed. Here we are not providing any button widget to display, just a selection itself, the toast message will be displayed. So see the output. It takes the text property of the particular widget and that value alone is displayed on this. Are you clear? This is called a dynamic creation. In the design mode, we have not created any of the widgets in drag and drop mode. Only for the constraint layout, the ID is provided. Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, today's discussion, this is only leftover alert dialog display. Alert box display is a yesterday is omitted. Today I will conclude and reminding I will ask the students to work in their device to show the output. That's an assignment today. I plan to conduct today's class. Okay, now see this main activity in the design mode. A button will be placed. Close this app. It conforms with the alert dialog box. Now we'll get the output and see. Then we'll go sit with the code. Instead of toast message, how we can invoke the alert dialog box in our application. Toast. Yeah. Close this app is a context. Alert dialog display. Do you want to terminate this application from the execution? No, if you provide, it will retain on the same state. No action selected for the alert dialog box display app. Then if we provide S, it will close and the action S is selected for the alert dialog box display app. Now it will retain its position, the recent task switcher. Okay, now see here. And this particular widget is provided with the IDE. And this is information display. It doesn't have anything. On the string, what is necessary? We have declared. The constant is declared. Now under this, you come and see button and alert dialog builder. One is at buffer button, it is given as close, and for this it's a make as a variable. Then under the on create method, close is linked, make also linked. Because make we have not placed any widget, so it doesn't have any ID. So whenever it's available, we are creating a new alert dialog box builder in such a way. So when we are pressing the close button, the same method set on click listener and on click view method, make dot set message display of alert dialog, and the message what to be displayed, and set title as alert dialog box display. You can see this display of alert dialog display. Okay. When we are clicking on it, dialog says dialog has to be introduced and its ID value. These are the default syntax that to be used. And we are providing the finish method. Even though finish, it won't terminate the application. It just come out from the application. Using this, the action S is selected and it's positive, it will go. And it's a lengthy method and it's based on the syntax. It's not ended at this point. Just a minute. It's continuous. Set cancelable is a false option. Only yes or no we are treating in it. Text is a yes, another one is no will be available, and cancel. Alert dialog box consists 3 buttons in it, and cancelable is made as false. Then positive view button as yes. So set navigation button no. Next is that we are providing the interface, and through the on click listener again we are getting the value. Dialog is cancel and toast this message. The action no is selected for that message will be popped up and it will be closed. Then creating the dialog box is invoked here. Alert set title is provided here, and alert box we are supposed to show. You have a clear analysis on the code again. Akash, for the fourth one. Due to only this, I'm having today's discussion in the offline mode. All these 4 you practice now itself. Whether you are having classes after this?
Yes, sir. One more.
One more. After completion, you sit and practice and you can get the clarity on it.
Okay,
I'm
sir.
terminating. I'm moving for the offline class mode now, right now. You can
Okay.
leave the meeting.
Okay, sir.
Thanks. Okay.